Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. Great to have you with us.
Morning. Good to be here. Lots happening today.
Absolutely. We're really digging into this tension, this kind of constant push and pull between regulation and innovation in the tech world.
Yeah, it really feels like that's the theme running through everything right now. You see it in Europe with privacy debates. You see it on Wall Street with, well, new kinds of data markets. It's all about who controls things, really.
Right. And we've got three big stories that touch on exactly that, affecting your privacy, maybe your investments, and definitely the future of big tech.
But first, let's do a quick check on the weather and the markets. Get everyone up to speed.
Sounds good. So weather-wise, if you're on the East Coast, feeling that chill.
Definitely a cold front moving through. Cooler temps and quite a bit of rain from the northeast all the way down to the southeast.
Okay. And then out west, something brewing there too.
Yeah, particularly around New Mexico. Keep an eye out starting tomorrow. There's a multi-day rain event coming, tropical moisture feeding in.
Okay. So there is a risk, they're saying, of some isolated flash flooding. Just something to be aware of.
Good to know. And quick mention for Sacramento, looks sunny for you. High around 77 Fahrenheit.
Nice for them. All right, shifting over to the markets, looking at yesterday's close, October 7th. A bit of a down day for the major indices. The Dow Jones finished at 46,602.98. Yeah. That was down 0.21% for the day.
Okay, but still holding up for the week overall.
Yeah, still green weekly, up 0.64%. So context matters there.
Gotcha. And the S&P, similar picture.
Pretty similar. Closed at 6,714.59, down 0.47% yesterday. But again, looking at the week, it's up 0.80%.
Okay. And Bitcoin, what's happening there this morning?
Seeing a bit of a bounce today, actually, trading around 122,495.45. That's up almost 0.9% on the day.
Yeah, positive move.
It is, but still digging out of a hole from the past week. It's still down about 1.8% over the last 7 days. Some volatility there.
All right, essential updates. Thanks for that. Now, before we get into the main stories, just want to quickly thank one of our sponsors. Yeah, big thanks to Pins and Aces. That's Pins and Aces. They're a fantastic premium golf apparel and accessory store.
Seriously good stuff. If you're looking for anything from, cool head covers to really high quality performance polos, they've got you covered.
And we've got a great offer for you. Use the promo code SNARFUL, that's SNARFUL, SNARFUL when you check out.
And that code gets you 21% off your entire purchase. Pretty significant discount.
It really is. Just head over to pinsandaces.com. That's pinsandaces.com. Use code SNARFUL.
Okay, awesome. Let's dive into the main course then. Our morning star, the Snarful Tech article report. We're looking at the top 3 tech stories and, crucially, what they actually mean for you.
Right. And the first one, it's a big one. It's brewing in the EU, and it really gets to the heart of the privacy versus security debate. We're talking about the proposed child sexual abuse regulation, often called chat control.
Chat control. Okay. So the goal, protecting kids online, obviously something everyone supports. But the how is where it gets controversial, right?
Exactly. The core of it is this proposal to mandate that companies providing encrypted messaging services, think Signal, WhatsApp, Proton Mail, they would have to scan all private messages for illegal material.
All messages. Even encrypted ones. How does that even work without breaking the encryption?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, or maybe billion-dollar question. The proposed mechanism is something called client-side scanning, or CSS.
Client-side scanning. Okay, break that down.
So instead of breaking encryption on the server, the idea is the service provider, say, Signal would be forced to push code onto your phone or your computer, your device.
Onto my device.
Onto your device. And that code would then scan the content of your message using things like AI, hash matching while it's still in plain text, before it actually gets encrypted and sent out.
Wow. Okay, so the encryption itself isn't broken in transit, but they're basically putting scanning software right onto my personal device to look at my stuff before I even hit send.
That's the essence of it. And you can see why privacy advocates and cryptographers are, frankly, freaking out. Signal didn't mince words. They called it an existential catastrophic risk.
Existential catastrophic risk.
Yeah.
Strong language. It really does sound like a mandated backdoor, doesn't it? No matter how they frame it technically.
That's precisely the argument from the opposition. And the opposition is pretty widespread. We're talking over 40 European tech companies, names like CryptPad, Proton, Tuda Mail, Element, and they've all signed an open letter.
Okay.
Plus, you've got the European Digital SME Alliance, representing something like 45,000 smaller tech businesses, also vehemently against it.
Okay, so massive pushback from the tech sector. But playing devil's advocate for a second, is there any way to achieve the EU's stated goal, protecting children, without this kind of scanning? Or is the tech just not there? Is it truly an all-or-nothing situation?
Well, the overwhelming consensus from security experts is that once you deliberately build a vulnerability, which is what CSS essentially is, into software used by millions, it's no longer secure, period.
Yeah.
It creates a systemic weakness that, hostile governments or criminals will eventually exploit.
Right.
And for Europe specifically, there's another huge issue here: digital sovereignty and competition.
How so?
European tech companies have really built their brand, their competitive edge against the US and Chinese giants on the promise of strong privacy, partly thanks to GDPR, right?
Yeah, that's their selling point.
Exactly. If the EU mandates this kind of mass scanning, this suspicionless mass surveillance, as critics call it, they completely undermine that trust and that competitive advantage. They're basically telling the world our platforms aren't secure by design anymore.
That's a huge contradiction, especially when you consider other EU initiatives like NIS2, right? Which is all about strengthening cybersecurity for critical infrastructure.
Precisely. You can't, on the one hand, demand stronger cyber defenses, and on the other, legislate against fundamental security tools like end-to-end encryption. It makes no sense strategically.
And this is moving fast.
Very fast. The current Danish presidency of the EU Council is pushing for a vote on these proposals by October 14th.
Wow, that's next week.
Yeah. And the member states are apparently quite divided. You've got supporters like France, Italy, Spain, but dissenters like Belgium, Poland, Finland. So it's a major political battle with huge stakes for digital trust globally.
Definitely one to watch closely. Okay, so if chat control is shaking trust in Europe, our next story involves a different kind of trust, market trust, maybe.
Yeah.
Getting a massive, almost unbelievable valuation.
Yeah, shifting gears quite a bit here. We're talking about Polymarket, the prediction market platform.
Right, where people bet on the outcomes of real-world events.
Exactly. Well, they just landed a huge strategic investment from Intercontinental Exchange, ICE. That's the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange.
The NYSE's parent company is investing in Polymarket. How much are we talking?
The reports say up to $2 billion. And this investment pushes Polymarket's valuation post-money to a staggering $9 billion.
$9 billion for a prediction market.
Yeah.
Wow. How does that compare to, competitors?
Well, the main regulated competitor in the U.S., Kalshi, was recently valued at around $2 billion. So yeah, $9 billion for Polymarket it's a massive statement. It signals serious institutional validation.
Okay, but why? Why would ICE, the owner of the venerable NYSE, pour potentially billions into what some might just see as, a sophisticated betting site? What's the real play here?
It's all about the data. It's about integrating Polymarket's unique data stream into the core financial system.
Okay.
See, ICE runs something called the ICE Global Network. It's this huge pipeline for financial data. The deal makes ICE the global distributor of Polymarket's event market data.
Wait, so they're taking the odds, the real-time probabilities generated by users betting on Polymarket, say odds on an election outcome or a Fed rate hike or whatever, and they're going to pipe that data through their network directly to Wall Street, to brokers, trading desks, risk systems.
That's precisely it. This Polymarket data, these probabilities reflecting collective user belief, will now flow alongside traditional stock prices, bond yields, currency rates. It's effectively being treated by the owner of the NYSE, no less, as a new, valuable financial data stream, almost like a new asset class.
That is fascinating. It implies that this sort of crowdsourced, decentralized consensus data is now seen by major financial players as potentially more valuable, or at least as valuable, as traditional analysis or polling.
It certainly suggests that, and you have to see this in the context of ICE's founder, Jeff Sprecher. He's been very vocal about using his assets, including the NYSE, to embrace the future of finance, particularly tokenization.
Right, representing real-world assets digitally.
Yeah, and Polymarket, being kind of crypto-adjacent and very consumer-focused, gives ICE a foothold and, frankly, some savviness in that emerging world. They get access to that user base and that type of real-time consensus data.
And this is coming to the U.S. soon, right, for users?
Looks like it. The CEO confirmed they are cleared for a U.S. launch shortly. This follows some regulatory maneuvering and other strategic investments. So U.S. users might soon get access to this platform that, famously had different odds on the 2024 election than many traditional polls.
Institutional adoption of disruptive tech. A huge story indeed. Okay, for our final story, let's swing back to the EU, but this time it's about regulatory success, maybe.
Yeah, it seems the EU's big stick is actually working. Reports suggest that both Apple and Meta are getting very close to settling their respective antitrust cases with the European Commission.
These cases relate to the Digital Markets Act, the DMA, right?
That's right. The landmark legislation aimed at curbing the power of dominant tech platforms, the so-called gatekeepers.
Now, these companies pushed back hard against the DMA initially. Lots of complaints, public statements. Why the sudden move to settle now? What changed?
Money, or rather the threat of losing colossal amounts of it. Remember, they were already fined collectively about $700 million back in April for earlier DMA issues.
Right, about $772 million US. Not small change.
Not small change, but the real hammer is the potential for ongoing fines for noncompliance. If they don't settle and are found to be still violating the DMA, the EU can impose daily fines of up to 5% of their global daily revenue.
5% of global daily revenue per day.
Per day.
Okay, that's not just a fine. That's an existential threat to their profit margin. That would be absolutely crippling.
Exactly. You simply cannot afford that kind of penalty. And you can't afford to be locked out of the massive European market either. So the financial pressure becomes overwhelming. Compliance becomes the only rational business decision.
Makes sense. So what are the specific sticking points being ironed out in these settlements? What changes are Apple and Meta actually agreeing to make?
Well, for Apple, even though they've technically allowed third-party app stores now, as the DMA requires, the main issue seems to be this core technology fee they charge developers.
The fee.
Yeah. The EU wants to ensure that Apple treats developers using those alternative stores fairly and doesn't just use fees to make it impossible for those competitors to actually, compete viably. It's about genuine choice, not just ticking a box.
All right, preventing them from monetizing the competition out of existence.
Okay.
And for Meta, what's their issue?
For Meta, it seems the regulators felt their initial changes weren't clear enough for users. The key demand is ensuring that consumers in the EU can effortlessly find and navigate all the options Meta provides regarding data use, privacy settings, linking services like Facebook and Instagram.
Effortlessly.
Yeah. The regulators don't want users being subtly nudged or confused into agreeing to more data sharing than they might want. It has to be clear and easy to opt out or customize.
Gotcha. So the big takeaway here is really the power of the DMA in practice. Despite all the initial resistance, the EU is actually forcing some of the world's most powerful companies to change fundamental aspects of their business models in a major market.
Absolutely. It's a demonstration of regulatory muscle. When the potential fines are that high, even giants have to bend. Money talks, as they say.
Indeed. Well, that wraps up our Morning Star Report. 3 really crucial stories today. But before we finish up, one more quick thank you to our sponsors.
Yes, this discussion was also brought to you by Skoni. That's S-K-O-N-I, pronounced Skoni. They make premium golf shoes.
If you're serious about golf, you know how important comfortable, high-performance shoes are. Skoni really delivers on that front: style, comfort, stability on the course.
And again, we have that promo code for you. SNARFUL. S-N-A-R-F-U-L. SNARFUL. Use it at checkout.
This time, the code SNARFUL gets you 15% off your entire purchase at Skoni. Just head to skoni.com, that's skoni.com, and use the code SNARFUL.
Great shoes, great discount. Okay, so let's quickly recap the key things we covered today.
Yeah, 3 main threads. First, that huge battle over encryption in Europe. The chat control proposal versus digital privacy, and really Europe's own tech competitiveness.
Second, we saw the institutional world embracing prediction markets in a big way, with IC investing heavily in Polymarket. That signals that crowdsourced probability data is becoming a serious financial asset.
And third, the reality check for big tech in Europe. The DMA isn't just talk. It's forcing giants like Apple and Meta to change core practices to avoid those massive daily fines.
Right. The underlying theme across all 3, I think, is how regulation, whether you agree with it or not, in each specific case is increasingly shaping the landscape for technology, innovation, and data.
It really is the central force now, dictating the rules of the game globally. It's complex, constantly shifting, and definitely something we all need to keep track of.
Absolutely. Good stuff to keep in mind.
We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.